had the honor of being asked on Dr. Kate D's podcast called MedSpa Mayhem. I loved being on this show, and I thought, I really need to share this episode with you when you are searching for an esthetician in person, and some things you may not have known about behind the scenes for beauty spas. I cannot wait for you to learn about this. So in this eye-opening episode, I share how to navigate the beauty industry safely, including tips on finding a qualified esthetician, understanding the importance of personalized skincare, and the crucial role that diet and lifestyle play in achieving healthy skin. I also go over what dangers should consumers be aware of when seeking beauty services, and why are shortcuts never the answer? So, I am always the one interviewing. So this time I am in the hot seat, and enjoy this special episode with me being interviewed by Dr. Kate D. Welcome to the Spa Skin and Beauty Podcast. Struggling with wrinkles, dark spots, or an overwhelming skincare routine? I'm Lindsay, an esthetician who has found a simple skincare routine for clear, youthful skin, even in my 40s. In this podcast, I'll share quick, easy, non-toxic solutions to help you love your skin and stay motivated. So grab your products, press play, and let's transform your skin. Introducing my no Botox skin coaching. Think of this as a 30-minute one-on-one with an esthetician. Okay, so here it is, your 30-minute no Botox skin coaching session. You are going to be able to walk away with your wrinkle reduction plan and have 30 minutes with an esthetician. I have over 14 years of experience in this area. This is for a limited time. I am only offering these 30-minute power calls for a few months. My goal is to build a course in the long run. So I am testing this out and just really getting to know you, your needs, the solutions that you really want. So this is not going to be around forever. But for now, you can grab one of these 30 minutes with me and we can go through this stuff together. I know you don't have 4 hours to go and watch skincare YouTube videos. I know that you don't have that time. So let's do 30 minutes and you will have your exact anti-aging plan, exactly what products, exactly what you're doing with your face in the morning and at night, exactly how to save money. You need an exact customized plan built for you. So the first 5 people to snag one of these as a new year special, it's only $67. And then they do increase after that. I've made it so super easy to book. Just click the Calendly link in my podcast episode below to book, and then you're on your way to Botox free in no time. I am so looking forward to talking with you soon. And now onto the show.
Hi, this is Dr. Kate D, and I'm here today speaking with Lindsay Holder. Lindsay is an esthetician and CEO of Lepre Beauty in Greenville, South Carolina. And we're going to talk about all things aesthetics. Thanks, Lindsay, for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Lindsay's been doing this for 14 years, and she's moved from actively running her own business, seeing clients for aesthetics, to a more online platform. And we met because I was actually interviewed on Lindsay's podcast not that long ago. So thanks how did that podcast turn out, by the way? It just dropped just yesterday, right?
It just dropped yesterday. It's on the Spa Skin and Beauty show. It was amazing. I highly recommend everybody to listen, your audience, because you interview a lot of people, but it's nice to hear somebody interview you. And so you give some really good information on there. So everybody should listen to that show of Dr. D on it.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun to do. So I was hoping to talk about a couple topics today. First of all, just basically how to find a good esthetician and how to figure that out. So if you don't already have one, because I think that not everybody is created equal. What do you think?
Oh my goodness, I definitely think that. And it's especially interesting finding an esthetician when you're an esthetician because you're even more particular. And after being an esthetician for so long, I know how to find an esthetician now and what to look for. So I want to go down a list for your audience. First and foremost, I do think referrals and recommendations go a long way. And if you think about it, when you want to find a hairstylist or anything like that, you usually ask your friends, like, hey, who do you get your hair by or whatever? And you look at their haircut. You're like, her hair looks good. I don't ask people who I don't like their haircut, or if their skin looks really good and you can tell that they're taking care of their skin, ask them who they go to. I really think that speaks volumes versus just getting online somewhere or just Googling it. I really like to ask for referrals. And if you have a special need with your skin, you're going to want to also look for a specialist in that area. So if you know somebody that has struggled with rosacea or acne or something, or hyperpigmentation, or they have more mature skin or wrinkles, you want to go to somebody who also specializes in that, or has a really good understanding of that. So that's definitely a number one thing. So when you get to the spa, I think that a few things, it reminds me of going to the doctor's office. Okay. I interview my doctor just like they're with me. I think there's like this intimidation when you go, oh, there's an expert, they know more than I do. Or if you go into a doctor's office, and maybe this is just a part of me now being 47 and you don't care. You're like, I'm here too. And I did my homework and I now interview my doctors. I have my list. I'm not going to be scared anymore, because when I was younger, I was intimidated. And I just want to hopefully convey to the audience, listen, you're the client, you're the patient, you are in charge. You're your own advocate for your skin. You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to have that time in their chair. So what I mean by that is I don't just go into a facial, or I suggest don't just go into a facial and have a 5-minute consult. I don't believe in those. I think it needs to be a tailored consult for your skin, and there needs to be a link. So my minimum consultations, and this is bare minimum, or 15 minutes. And then I usually had a more lengthy consultation, and I had an ongoing communication with the client, a relationship with the client, that I'm not going to just put anything on your skin and I've talked to you for 5 minutes.
I totally agree with you. I think, first of all, walking into my place is walking into a doctor's office. So we have obviously a combination of regular aesthetics and medical aesthetics. But I think that's really important. I find spas intimidating myself, even at my age of 56 now, because people are just beautiful and they act like, they know what's right for you and you should just do this. But I do think a lot of those places are not catering their care to the person's skin, and they use the same products on everyone. So you could answer those questions and they don't really care because they just have one set protocol anyway. So I think that's a really good point.
Yes. And I want to come back to what you just said, because that's my next point. But when you go through the consultation, your esthetician should not just be asking you about what moisturizer do you use in your face. It really needs to also be, personally, because I'm a gut health focused esthetician. I believe what you put in your body comes out on your skin. I'm very intentional in what I eat. And I've always been really intentional with my clients too. Like, we have to fix your diet first. I can't just fix your skin with topicals. And I think that your esthetician needs to do a deeper dive into what your life looks like as a whole, versus just, again, asking your moisturizer, your eye cream. We need to look at your entire skin. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. So it's an organ of your body. So let's just look at the body as a whole. So that is my number one thing that I wanted to tell, that you deserve the time in their chair. And so when you call to make your appointment, make sure that you ask, listen, I want to spend some time with the esthetician for my consultation, versus just getting on their books. Let them know you're coming and that you want to develop a relationship with somebody and you want their top esthetician that can handle your needs. And that's important, because if you had called when I had my spa and I heard that, I would know who to pair you with versus my entry-level esthetician versus my master esthetician. I'm like, okay, this person is serious with their care. They're not just wanting just a cleanse for the day. They really want their skin taken care of. So you can call and request that. The second thing I would say is, you touched a good point on just using that skin care that they have for the day, just on everybody. I think that it's fun. Listen, I'm a girl all the way. So what that means is I get sucked into the pumpkin facial fall, or the chocolate Valentine's Day special mask. I love that marketing. It speaks to me. Not everybody has the skin that's going to be able to handle their seasonal facials, or a really good esthetician is going to be able to be like, listen, I know you like our pumpkin spice, to let you know that you have rosacea, and then this acid's not going to be ideal for your skin, but I'm going to customize this so you can still have that really special experience, seasonal fall feeling, cozy that you wanted, but I'm still going to be able to take care of your skin.
Yeah, I think your point also about diet is really important. I think that a lot of people, not only the clients, but also estheticians and doctors ignore that part. And I think that people deny the fact that it really matters. And I think that the diet overall helps. Having a really healthy diet nutritionally is very important, but also so many processes in the skin are inflammatory. So acne, rosacea, even melasma are inflammatory processes. And so if you're eating a very inflammatory diet, you're going to make all of that much worse. And then if you eat an anti-inflammatory diet, you actually make those things better, even without changing your skincare routine. So totally agree about that.
It's just been such a passion of mine. My son is 17 months. He had a strong case of eczema. I had to figure that out on my own, and I figured it out. I even have it on my website. You can see his before and after, and it just pains me to see his before picture, but it makes me so happy to see his after. When I was in that moment looking at my son, it gets me emotional a little bit because I thought, here I'm a new mom. A poor baby is struggling, his face, his skin. And then I thought, buckle up. You're an esthetician. You're going to figure this out. So I did a deep dive and I really put everything together. Guess what? So I got him straight. And that was not easy to do. And he is doing wonderful. Then one day, I woke up with a massive rosacea. I've never had rosacea in my life, flare up. And I went to 2 dermatologists because I did not believe the first one was denied. I was like, no, I'm sorry. That is not what this is. I do not have that. And then the second one confirmed it. And I just cried and I thought, what happened to my gorgeous skin? And so I had to do a deep dive into that. And there's some things that I've been taking internally that has drastically reduced the inflammation and combined it with externally. And now I'm here today happy with my skin. So those are 2 just personal stories recently. Of course, I've had some great acne stories in the past, but inflammation is the number one culprit, I think, to not only skin health, but just overall health. A lot of diseases are basically because of inflammation, if people don't know that. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I totally agree. The level of inflammation that people have from a typical American diet is really high. So any kind of inflammatory disease you have, whether it's an autoimmune disease or heart disease or just the common cold, it gets so much worse if you're eating really inflammatory foods. And yeah, that would be a great topic for a whole other episode. That'd be really interesting.
But you probably don't want to. I do skin consultations, but don't come to me if you're not willing to change your diet because I'm going to change it the first thing. I'm just not your gal.
And that's really hard to do. It's hard to influence people to change their diet because people really don't want to do that.
I was going to say it leads to my next thing is that you want to find an esthetician that you align with your lifestyle. Just like I said, hey, don't come to me if you don't want to change your diet. And I really mean that. And I'm very honest and direct with my clients. And I'm saying, listen, this is going to take this work. I'm here to give you the results that you want, but you're here to do your part. And it's going to take both of us. But I am more of I'm like a mix of holistic and science together. And you want to know what type of esthetician do you want to go to? Some estheticians don't care about parabens or phthalates or any toxic things in their skincare. I do. So I'm going to change I'm going to even change things in your house to clean. So I'm the overall picture. So make sure that you align yourself with the lifestyle of that esthetician too. It reminds me just one story I wanted to tell you, not really a story, but I remember there was this esthetician that I would just follow her online and she was local. And I thought, what are you doing? Like online, she would just be in her bathing suit in her pictures on her social media, out in the sun, no hat, full brown. Her skin was dark. She tanned it so bad, no hat, nothing. And then she would burn. And anyway, I knew her and I'm like, what are you doing? You're an esthetician. This makes no sense. I am outside. I look ridiculous. I have the Bluestone Shield visor. And if you don't know what that is, it'd be great for your practice, by the way. It was developed by an esthetician. She was on my show. It is a visor that is pretty large, and it pops up and down. It's awesome. It blocks out. It's tested. Every single hat is tested. 100% UV, especially after you get microneedling, peels. You want to be completely covered. So I have that on. I walk with that. I have it on the beach. I have a rash guard on. I don't even have to put sunscreen on because I'm covered. I'm already covered.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a healthy tan. So I'm sorry to break it to everybody. Okay. And it's interesting because people out in the Northwest are less focused on being tan. I've noticed people more in California and the Southeast are way more want to have this supposed healthy tan. But to me, all I see is skin cancer. Like that's skin cancer on its way. and it's really, it makes me, so one, it's very bad for aging, very bad for sunspots, for wrinkles, but then also for skin cancer. So highly recommend your sunblock every day. And maybe I'll look into this visor. I haven't seen that, but I'm going to have to Google that one.
Oh, I'll send you it. It's amazing. And I was just going to say, I'm going to look it up while we're talking, is I did spray tans at my spa as well, and just get a spray tan. It's fine. And I was
don't
going to
get the really orangey one. Because,
no, don't get those. And I'm really particular about the ingredients that go into that. So there is a product, and I wanted to tell your audience, is Beauty by Earth. It's non-toxic. It's got organic and natural ingredients. There's no dyes in this. And it goes on. It's really nice. It's called Beauty by Earth. And that's a self-tanner that I personally use. And you can be tan now in a few hours.
Exactly. I would say just don't do that right before you go in to get a procedure done, because a lot of stuff we can't do if your skin is dark, whether it's real tan or spray tan. There's a lot of stuff we can't do if you've got pigment on your skin. Do that once you're healed.
You know what? A really good clinic like yourself, you send out all the protocols, the pre-care instructions and the post-care instructions.
Yeah.
So your clients are going to know. And that's another red flag.
Well, the problem though is that at least in my clinic, we send that all out by email. And these days I say 95% of people don't look at their email. So I always tell them, like, we send these out, like real important information about your procedures and also reminders and receipts and stuff. But people still, oh, Glow, yep, I've got an appointment. So they just think it's a reminder and then they don't read it. But
okay, so can I give you a tip about that? This is what I did because I had that too. Here's my tip. I would send out a client intake form digitally, right? And then on the client intake form, I made them physically initial, not check, initial that they would, and whatever the protocol is, they agree to not. And they agreed to not. So I had it to where, oh, wait, what am I signing? Oh, okay, I agree not to do this. Otherwise, they just read through it. And so it slows them down just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I can try that, see if that works.
Another thing I was going to say for finding a good esthetician is ask your esthetician some questions. I like to know what their experience is, what skincare line they use. I also really like to know, ask them some fun questions too. Hey, what other esthetician role models do they have? What are you interested in? What's your specialty? Get to know what they like as a craft. And then form a relationship with your esthetician. I feel like that's really important. I advocate to not spa hop, or esthetician hop is what I like to call it. I'm totally comfortable. And of course, I love going to resort spas when I travel and stuff. But I think in your own hometown, find an esthetician that knows you, because it's just like your doctors or your hairstylist, whatever. It takes a while to get to know it's not a one and done situation. And there's things that are going to happen. Your lifestyle is going to change. Your stress is going to change. Things happen on a monthly basis, and your esthetician needs to know about them. A really good esthetician has thorough notes done. It was so funny because my clients, I would say, oh, how was your so-and-so trip? How was your, and they're like, how did you know? Wow, you have such a good memory. I'm like, no, it's in my notes. Like everything that we talked about, from your lifestyle to what we talked about, are in your notes. So then I can refer to that and I can adjust as our time with each other goes on. So I highly recommend to stick with that and give that esthetician at least please give your esthetician a minimum of 90 days, a minimum, to help you with your skin. I strongly recommend, let's hit the 6-month mark or even the 9-month mark. Give that person a chance. If they have not turned your skin around in 30 days, it's not their fault. It takes a long time. Please be patient and give them a chance.
Yeah, I always tell patients that when you're a kid, it's about a 4 to 6 week turnover of your epidermis. So from a new, keratinocyte to work its way up in slough, right? But as you get older, that gets longer and longer. It can be 8, 10, 12 weeks. And so it's many months before your skin turns over. And if you want to have an effect on your skin, then anything you do to your skin really takes months to have its full effect. And so I totally agree with you. Give it at least 90 days. Totally agree with that. I will also give a plug to any esthetician who does have access to what I call medical grade skincare, because the skincare products are all over the map as far as quality. And there's no official definition of medical grade, but I'm sure I've said this at least once on the podcast before. My definition is that medical grade is any company that not only has high quality product, but they've actually done laboratory studies to prove that the ingredients they say are in it are actually in it at the concentrations that they say it is, and that it's actually effective and they actually have studies to show that. And there are a lot of really good companies that make skincare products that do that. But there are also a lot of companies that don't even bother. They just make a product and they put it out and they try to sell it. So little plug there for better
And I
product.
know, if you're an esthetician listening to this and you're like, listen, I wish I could afford medical grade skincare, but the $5,000 buy-in, I can't afford that. I have my small room here and I'm trying to pay my rent and get my clients. I get that. So what you could do as a workaround, you could have the brand that you can afford and that works really well. And then you can use an affiliate code or referral to purchase that medical skincare that was going to help them with their skin on that brand's website. There are workarounds to that, because I know that can be, I just know that estheticians are listening to this because I've been there. I totally understand, especially starting out is very expensive.
Yeah.
And I will never
for
forget.
sure. I think carrying any skincare product is really problematic because you have to buy a certain amount and then it sits on your shelf. And if you don't sell it quickly enough,
Yeah.
then especially if it doesn't have a long shelf life, that's really a big problem. And I've definitely been stuck with product where we thought we would sell some of that, but we didn't have enough patients who fit that particular category. And so I realized that can be really problematic. Obviously, I now have a really busy practice, so we're able to do that. But in the very beginning, it was really difficult.
It's very hard. And you're always going to have inventory at the end of the year that's left over. And that's just the way it is. That's just business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always brought that home. I'm like, looks like I got another cleanser.
So is there any other tips you want to give about finding a good esthetician?
So we talked about this a little bit on my show, but I was going to say, I'm okay with businesses running specials because that's normal. You're going to have Christmas specials, holiday specials. That's just the way all businesses run. And that's fine. But I do not really recommend getting a really deep discount like a Groupon or anything like that. Just be really leery of those and just cautious of those. And just make sure that whatever they're advertising is actually what you're getting. And if it says a hydrofacial, you're not going to find that on a Groupon. You're just not. And the reason why, because people think, gosh, you're so expensive. The cost to run the machine with the cost of especially the specialized vials. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those are quite expensive.
Very expensive. And in the breakdown, and then you factor in the labor and taxes and everything, you're like, did I make anything off that? But to the client, they're like, good grief, this is so expensive. So you're just not going to find deep discounts on those expensive medical grade facials, because just to let the consumer know, the back end cost is really that high. And I could say this, I'm still in a spa, I have nothing to lose. It really is that high on the back end.
I totally agree with you. The Groupons that we see for Botox and other laser services are so ridiculously cheap. There's no way you're getting the real thing. It's just not physically possible. If it were, then they would be losing a ton of money, every single one that was purchased. And so you have
Right.
to wonder what kind of bait and switch they're doing, what shenanigans is going on behind the scenes. Because you'd go out of business if
You
you
really
really
would.
offered those things. Because I know that the industry seems very expensive, but it just is. All the products are expensive, and the machines and the boosters and the serums, and paying, especially if your business pays your staff really well, which mine does,
Yeah.
then it's a very expensive idea of offering these things. And so the deep discounts, they just aren't real. So something's missing.
When you touched on that you pay your estheticians really well, it's okay to ask her, hey, how do you like working here? That's a very simple question. And
Mhm.
that can tell you right away if that esthetician is going to be there for a while and she likes her environment. If she likes her environment, she's going to be happy and she's going to want to take really good care of you. And she's not going to be like, oh, dreading her job or upset or whatever. So if your esthetician's happy, your skin's going to be happy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the other thing that really hits me with random places for facials is sometimes it will be an hour-long advertisement for product. Like they're really pushing product. And
Right.
I really hate that. I have a really good skincare regime. And so if I'm off on vacation and having a facial or something at some spa, I don't want a hour-long advertisement for product. And what people should know at home, a lot of places will pressure their providers to upsell and sell more product. And so a lot of them will have not only compensation related to that, but various incentives or even quotas for product they're supposed to sell. So when somebody is like that, I'm out. I just can't do it. I really hate that.
And feel free to let that esthetician know. And you can ask her, do you have a minimum quota that you need to meet? And go, I understand that. But if you don't mind, I'd like to just enjoy my facial today. You can let them know that. I personally did not give my team any minimums that they had to make or quotas because I didn't want the clients to have that experience.
Me
And it
too.
worked out great. They did not feel that pressure. And so I really think that's important.
So I was hoping maybe you could talk a little bit about what you're doing now and what 𝙁Beauty does.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm so excited. So, like I mentioned before, I sold my spa and I had a lot of clients over the years. I found out that I loved seeing them every month, but on a day to day basis, they still needed an esthetician. So they would still be like, wait a minute, how'd you use that high frequency machine? How did you do that? And so I thought, I need to do videos for this and then maybe I'll put it online. So I'm like your in between. It reminds me of, I don't know if you have this in your state, but you go to your hairdresser, you get your cut, your blowout, your everything every 6 weeks or so. But then you go to a blow dry bar and you get your blowout or updo or whatever. Do you have that in your state?
I'm sure you're hitting on a part of the industry I don't know a lot about because I've
Okay.
got I've got curly
They-
hair and you can't blow dry it.
Oh, okay, okay. Basically, they say you're not cheating on your hairstylist because they're doing just the blowout and whatever. I'm the same
Got
way. You're not cheating on your esthetician. I'm here to help you in between
it.
between your esthetician visits. So my online business is called 𝙁Beauty. That stands for Lasting Everyday Present Day Beauty. And I am here to give you skincare tutorials and product reviews. I do every week you get a different video and I do exclusive podcast interviews like you have one on there. You gave an
Awesome.
excellent one. So go watch Dr. D's exclusive podcast interview. We talked about RF microneedling. It's inside the membership. It's totally free, by the way. There's no cost to it. So you could just join for free. Anybody can join. And soon I'll be launching a community inside where you can connect with other people who are passionate about skincare. And we have a nice, friendly community where you can be around other women who are interested in skincare.
That's awesome. I am all about education. That's why I do the podcast, why I wrote the book. And I spend now most of my time when I see patients is all in consultation. So I'm doing education all day long. I've moved away from doing procedures so much. I do have a few patients who are just diehard will never see anyone else. But for the most part, I just like the educational part. So that's been my favorite thing too.
You should start something like this, because that has been, after you've done it for a while, you get the same questions over. You're like, gosh, I just need to do a video and tell people how to do this. And so you can easily just watch a video and I will show you how to do a facial massage. I will show you how to do microcurrent on your skin. And I also tell you the products that I love, because I am sent a lot of products. So only the ones that I really love make it into the membership. And then I tell you about the company, why I love it. And I give you tips on how to use it from an esthetician perspective. So I'm able to take a product and use it differently than the average consumer would use it. And I'll tell you all of those tips.
That's awesome. Do you spend any time debunking myths or anything like that? Because I also think that's very helpful.
I don't. There are two ways I could do it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to highlight the benefits of this product, only the products that I like, make it in there, and then how to use it. And the videos are not long because I do value your time. So you can download it in the iOS or Google Play Store. Just type Lapre Beauty, Lapre Beauty in your phone, and you can download the app. And then videos are meant to be like 2 minutes, maybe 3, maybe a minute and a half. I really wanted bite-sized videos. For what you're talking about, I just feel like that would be a longer video, and I wanted to get like punchy, like straight to the point. I've just got a minute of your time. This is how you fix your face. This is how you microcurrent.
I'm sure I could do it in a minute or two. I could come up with something. I could be pretty terse. All right, well, I'll work on that one. You were telling me earlier that you had this kind of crazy microblading story. Do you want to tell that?
I just thought, I was just frustrated. I had a spot and I just knew of close to me. And one thing that we would love to do as estheticians were 2 things: microblading, and we also love microneedling as well. The board won't let us do that without underneath the doctor's supervision.
Can you explain for our audience about what microblading is? A lot of people probably do, but some don't.
So you probably see women with these beautiful shaped brows, and you're like, oh my gosh, why did my brows not do that? They're getting microblading done. So they're having to cut into the skin just a little bit, and it's like a temporary, a more permanent tattoo. It's like pigment, as I like to explain it. And you need an aesthetics license, but I don't know how your state is, but in order to perform that, and you really have to be under a doctor's care. I don't necessarily agree with that, really. I really think an esthetician could do that without a doctor's, but that's just our state regulation.
Well,
So
it's interesting in Washington State, you have to have a tattoo license in order to do microblading.
Well, see, I even think that's fair. I even asked my state, could we do that? We couldn't even do that with a tattoo license. It had to be under doctor's license. I just didn't understand that. I thought that was just not fair, honestly. So I was more upset because she was doing it, and it's got great results. It's really, if they're really talented, it's a beautiful result, and it lasts a good while. And she was just doing that. And so I personally didn't call the board, but somebody did. And then I noticed that she moved to a doctor's office pretty quickly. There's little things, and a lot of things that I saw mainly happened. I saw a lot during COVID.
Can we just talk about microblading for just another second? Yeah, so microblading has been around for at least 10 years or so. And the thing about it that I think is really important for people to know at home, if you're going to try microblading, so this is really for people who either have very little eyebrow, or they overtweezed in the 90s, or they just want it to be fuller,
or they're mature and they're losing a lot of their hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens. And it does involve a mild cut, but many little linear cuts to make it look like a hair. And then with ink to permanently embed the hair looking ink, whatever. It's like a tattoo of your brows, right? And the real particular thing, besides being licensed and being clean and being careful, is it is a total art. And I have seen some really bad microblading results because they're not even, they're not symmetric. One's higher than the other. Nobody's brows are even to start with. Everybody's a little asymmetric. And so I feel like you have to go to someone who's a true artist. Okay.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
everyone has that eye. And it lasts a year or two. It
Yeah.
fades after a while. People get it redone.
It's
But
good. 100%. But I feel like that's with anything. That's even when I get my brows waxed. It's really
absolutely.
good. That is a true art form. Aesthetics that is the name of our industry because that's what it is. Aesthetics. It's pretty, right? We're trying to make, and you have to have that eye. We used to do lash extensions at my spa too. And even that is a true art.
It's totally an art. Yeah. And I think, so that's true of regular aesthetics. That's true of medical aesthetics as well. Just because somebody learned a particular skill doesn't mean they've taken that skill into an art form. And I will say that I did not know when I started injecting Botox that I would be able to practice at that level. And I felt amazing once I achieved that. Like it feels really great to be able to be an artist with a needle. I think that's neat for me. But not everybody achieves that. And you can go to lots of people who inject Botox and they can make you not look pretty at all. Okay. And this is the same with brow waxing, microblading, anything that you're doing for aesthetics. So I think that that's like hugely important. And a lot of that goes back to what you were saying in the beginning about getting a recommendation from a friend, because that friend might say, oh gosh, don't go to her for micro because I came out and it took me a year to make my brows look normal again. Like those recommendations are really important.
And even look those up on Instagram too, because they usually post before and afters of their work. And it's so funny. I think 2 years ago, there was this brow place and all she did was brows. I was like, oh, I'm gonna look her up. And because I was looking for a new brow person. And then I looked up her work and I was like, nope, that's not what I'm trying to go for. So I have my brow person now, but I thought, wow, picture does say 1,000 words.
I feel that way about lips. I think if you look at someone else's work and they are busy giving everybody ducky lips, and if that's what you want, okay. But otherwise, I would just run in the other direction. There was a provider, this was actually a doctor, it was a few years ago, so this person's not around anymore, but she was new in the area. And I heard from several patients who came to me afterwards where they like went in for a consultation, met this woman and freaked out at what she looked like because she was just overstuffed and she looked bizarre. And they just never went back there because it's like, if you think that's a great aesthetic, then that doesn't match what I want. So that also, if you look at the provider and you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to look like you, I would not have them provide services for you.
That is true. And I just want to say from a business point, I was amazed at some of the candidates that would come in for an esthetician role. Because when I practiced, I had my scrubs on, my hair is always done, my makeup, my nails will always like trim, neat, clean. And I thought we might as well not even start this interview because you have to look a certain way and you have to take care of yourself a certain way. So I think that's a great point. Your esthetician should have a well-groomed appearance and look like their skin should look like how you want it to look.
Yeah, I once interviewed somebody it was actually for my front desk, and I did write about this in the book, but she had two things about her appearance that were so bizarre that I couldn't focus. So one was like her eyebrows went way up like clown eyebrows. It was like giant, really huge arch. And that was really distracting. And then she also had fingernails that were more than an inch long. And I couldn't imagine her being able to type, but it's a really interesting thing because in aesthetics, I really don't want to be that discriminatory, but if you can't represent my brand, then it's a really hard idea to like think that you're going to be a provider or employee in my space.
This is just a personal advice of mine, but I just don't like long nails on somebody that's working with my skin. I just know if you look under nails, if you've ever had long nails, there's a lot of bacteria under there.
Yeah, it's not very sanitary. And obviously you can't put gloves on. And we put gloves on for almost everything in our spa. And even just handling some like raw materials and other supplies. My front desk is not spending all day long in gloves, but sometimes they have to put them on to do certain things. So I just can't,
Yeah, I like a short groomed nail. That's just me personally.
Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with? It's been so interesting speaking with you.
Yeah, just make sure that you like your esthetician, that you want to form a relationship with them, that also just make sure that as you're having conversation, that you're listening to them speak and that they're ethical. So if your esthetician's saying certain things that just don't sound right, oh, I'm just going to start doing this at my house instead, or just like little cues like that. That's not an ethical esthetician, because I definitely experienced that during COVID and witnessed a lot of that. And you don't want that. You really want a nerdy, dorky esthetician like myself, who's just like a rule book follower, because you're going to know that my checklist is done. My sanitation is done. I've got my short nails. I'm looking for it. Everything is the full package. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the full package. You don't want somebody cutting corners. You want to make sure that the room looks nice, presentable, clean, that they're groomed, and that their station is clean. And just little things like that leave clues on who they are as a person too.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's actually a great thing to let people know. So I'm guessing that the regulatory environment's different in every state, but at least here in Washington, you can say what it's like in South Carolina. But not only do you have to have an esthetician license to practice, but you have to have a cosmetology license for your spa. And so in where I live, I have a special salon/shop license for the spa for the cosmetology part. And so for me to do facials or anything else, I have to have that special license, and I get inspected by the cosmetology board. And
Oh,
so if
wow.
you're, yeah, and it's only happened twice in 10 years, but they do check. And they're looking for cleanliness. They're looking for sterility. They're looking for covers on garbage cans and covers on all the
No
materials.
pets.
And so you're supposed to have your esthetician license posted and also your salon license posted. And so those are things you can ask for as well. And so if somebody's doing this in their backyard or out of their home, almost certainly they don't have the licensure.
Yeah, you can work out of your home if you have a certain license for that, and they would have to meet certain regulations for that. And I just knew a lot of people they're not regulated. And not to scare anybody, but I remember seeing this TikTok and I was like, yep, this is why this one lady posted that this is a reason why you don't go to somebody's home to get your lashes done, because the person had a dog there and the dog attacked her and her eye was awful. I saw the picture and I thought, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you're not allowed to have pets in a regular spa. That's why it's
Yeah.
regulated. No, we're not allowed to have animals there. Things can happen. You don't know what's going on in somebody's home. You really want to go to a business, or at least it's regulated somehow. I had the board. It was like clockwork for me. They were there every September, boom, every now. So everything. And I always pass with flying colors. I know exactly what we have to do. But yeah, just be really careful. Please do not go to a nail technician, a lash technician, a facial person in their home, even if it's a family friend. I promise you, you want to make sure that everything's regulated and that they are taking you know what? To me, that just shows that they're doing shortcuts. That's just a red flag for shortcuts. Unless,
Yeah.
of course, it's approved by the state and they have that. You just don't want somebody to do shortcuts.
And that's definitely the message of this podcast and of MedSpa Mayhem, because if you know about one shortcut they're taking, chances are they're taking a bunch of other shortcuts. And it's
Yes.
not necessarily safe at all. If someone doesn't have a medical director, chances are they're not buying product legally. They may be buying fake product or importing product from other countries. It's a really dicey world out there. So definitely look for those licenses and stay out of people's backyards for your waxing and your facials.
Yes, please do. I would love to tell your audience before we go, if they want just like a 7-day free guide, they can go to lindsayholder.com/guide, and I will give you a 7-day free skincare guide on how to take care of your skin if they would like that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lindsay, so much for being on the podcast today. It's been a great conversation.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you for asking me, Dr. D.
Did you know that I have a free skincare membership filled with women just like you, busy entrepreneurs who are working hard to master their skincare routine through mastering simple steps? I share weekly skincare tutorials and product reviews every Monday, as well as offer exclusive podcast episode content, product discount codes, and so much more. So please come join us at lapreebeauty.com. That's LAPREE beauty.com, or download our app. It's Lapree Beauty, and it's either in the Apple, iOS, or Google Play Store. Download today.